Welcome to the Raspy Voice Kids podcast, presents Always a Mountaineer. I'm your host, Brandon. On today's inaugural episode, you will be introduced to my brother, Jeremy. He joins me today. We will talk about Will Grier, a.k.a. Mountain Grier. We will also talk about Skylar Howard, his interaction with the fans. We will give our opinion. We will also maybe give you maybe what you could describe as hot takes. Then we're going to talk about fidget spinners. Not riding spinners, fidget spinners. So, let's go. Ready to go? Can I tell you guys how excited I am? This is not a joke, I'm for real excited. So I've been having fun doing this, and I feel like you guys are having fun too. I've been hearing some good feedback from you, so thank you guys for that. The text messages, the Instagram, the Twitter, every place that you contact me, I love it. And it's been fun so far. I can be honest with you, it's been a lot of fun doing it and hearing from you. But the whole reason I did this podcast is because when I have these conversations about West Virginia sports, which is the same thing for you guys. When you have these conversations about West Virginia sports, it's with friends, it's with family. Sometimes, a lot of the time, it's arguments. And I wanted to have the same experience on this podcast. So the idea, the mindset was we were going to have these conversations amongst friends. The plan is for it to be Raspy Voice Kids. Raspy Voice Kids present Always a Mountaineer. And you've only heard one. There's only been one Raspy Voice Kid, Brandon Phoenix. It's me again, but this time I've got one of the other two Raspy Voice Kids in the building.
Right.
The youngest of the three, my brother Jeremy Phoenix. He is, well, a lot of you guys know him already. The ones who don't, you will get initiated. He's got a lot of opinions. He's got more passion probably than...
I bring it.
He's got... he brings a little too much sometimes.
I go a little overboard.
There's been a sandwich or two thrown at a television in his time.
We'll get to those stories,
We will get to those stories. He brings it. But without further ado, I want to turn the mic over to you. You tell him who you are.
Like Brandon Mulder, brother. I'm from Parkersburg. I live in Charleston. I love the Mountaineers because I love West Virginia.
Amen.
And when I hear, I'm telling you, when it comes to being like a sports fan, one of the greatest things that I me personally, I love hearing is when after games we win and we hear the band start up.
Yeah.
And they're playing Country Roads.
You got that.
Or maybe if you're not in the stadium, you're driving home, you hear Tony Creedy come on and says, what a great day it is to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be.
That's the best.
And you know why? Because it is.
It's the truth.
We are way more emotional. We are way more attached.
Yeah.
The highs are high. And the lows, they near kill me.
We down in that valley. We down in that valley.
Look, man, I'm telling you, there's been a sandwich or two.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I'm a Mountaineer. I'm a Mountaineer through and through. And I'm there for the highs and I'm there for the lows.
Yeah.
And like I said, you know me and my friends know me, and sometimes I get too emotional. And sometimes I say stuff that I don't mean or probably need to take back, but that's because I'm so passionate. But my point is...
it's probably the only thing that keeps me from going into full despair is getting his text messages and knowing how ridiculous they are.
No.
It's the only thing that sustains me.
Passion works both ways.
It does. It really does.
It works both ways.
It's beautiful.
And so you guys will probably hear after something happens, I may be a tidbit too emotional.
So go follow him on Twitter. You might get a show. And people pay for that stuff, but Twitter's free.
But what I'm trying to say is, if I offend you, if I say something you don't like, just remember, just like my brothers, my friends, and the rest of Mountaineer Nation, I too also hate Pitt.
That's right. We gave you the rundown. So we introduced you to the show in the teaser. The second teaser, we introduced you to what we're going to talk about. Basically what's on the menu. And today we're just going to get into it. So what in the world does Mountaineer Nation want to talk about besides Will Grier?
Will Grier.
As we like to say. And by the way, if you see this hashtag on Twitter, on Instagram, anywhere, please know where you saw it first. People can bite. People imitate, and it's fine to duplicate, but please recognize when it's replicated, it started here from Always a Mountaineer, hashtag Mountain Grier.
Mountain Grier, and we're trying to get this Heisman.
And he deserves it.
So push that.
Now, I haven't actually seen him play an actual game. I'm just telling you, he deserves it. Now, all right, now I'm being funny. I can't say he deserves it. I can say to you, it would be an amazing thing for the West Virginia football program to have a guy of his caliber and his hype to come in and do the kinds of things to get him invited to New York. That's what we're excited about, and that's what everybody in the state is making you believe that he can already accomplish.
And those are the exact sentiments why the subject of does he really understand the pressure of being the Mountaineer quarterback. That's why it's so great.
Well, that's my thing. My thing is like what I just said being funny is what some people actually believe.
No, you say some people actually believe. Anybody who says they're not drinking the Kool-Aid is a liar.
Well, they weren't. If they were trying not to, when you got to the spring game.
No, it's over.
It's
over.
No. And then he takes his helmet off and he got that dreamy hair too.
You know.
I mean,
real talk.
Nathan Adrian got some competition now.
Real talk.
Good thing you graduated, Nate, because I mean, I just don't feel like I don't feel like the state could handle all that dreaminess.
It's truth.
On the same campus.
Talk about it.
But anyway, yeah, man. Like, so the spring game, it was unleashed, and the start was amazing. 7 for 7. He finished 12 of 18. The accuracy was amazing.
And it's not even the stats though.
Exactly.
It's we always talk about this. It's the eye test. That dude's swag. It's not even just about swag. It's just his confidence, his poise. That's why everybody's drinking the Kool-Aid. And like I said, you're lying if you're saying you haven't.
Well, the thing that I love too is it's not just us. Like Stanford Steve tweeted. He's on SVP show, Scott Van Pelt on ESPN.
Yep.
He said, how in the world is Will Grier not being mentioned for the Heisman?
Yep.
And it's not just because Will Grier is amazing for himself, but it's also the offense that Dana runs. We know what Dana can produce. We've seen it already. He's done it before he got to West Virginia. He's done it with quarterbacks that most people would describe, let's say, as hardworking, but probably maybe we'd call serviceable. And Will Grier is a legitimate star. The kid, he was a 4-star coming out of college or high school, which, by the way, stars don't always mean everything. I'll give you an example. William Crest was a 4-star.
Crest, Virginia.
That hashtag does not mean as much now as we thought it was going to when the t-shirts were made. Did not catch on, and there was no reason for it to catch on. However, William Crest was a legitimate 4-star. He was a superb athlete. Dedicated in every sense of the word. You never heard anyone say anything about his work ethic, nothing bad about him as far as a teammate, consummate teammate, nothing but a positive person through and through. But his talents never came to fruition as a signal caller.
Nobody talk about him anyway.
No, and so he transferred, and we understand that. No one's mad at him. But Will Grier was not just a 4-star. He was the 3rd-rated dual-threat quarterback in the nation.
Yeah.
So when he came out, it was legit hype. And he took a test that basically placed which university you should go to when he was in high school.
I didn't know that.
And it said West Virginia University.
Wow.
Dead serious.
Didn't know that. I really didn't know.
And the thing about it is, one thing or another, recruiting wise, and just the way things worked out, we didn't end up getting on the same page. We didn't end up recruiting him, and he went to Florida. We know that he was he admitted that he took a banned substance, but it wasn't like he was sticking needles in his butt. This was Ligandrol, which is something you can get from GNC over the counter. Admitted that he should have checked with the school. They have people you're supposed to check with about this stuff. But for real, dudes are beating up girls and getting less time for suspension, right?
Yeah.
Dudes are getting DUIs. Baker Mayfield's out here running around getting arrested and getting less time suspended than what Will Grier got, which was 6 games, lost his job at Florida, and now he's here. Prior to that, though, he proved he was a star.
No, and that's the thing. We have a small sample size when we look at him in Florida. If you look at somebody, and I know you'll hear me refer, stats don't mean a whole lot. For at least to me, they don't.
They don't mean everything.
They don't mean everything. It's an eye test. But as a senior in high school, he throws for over 5,000 yards, 77 touchdown passes, and he had 1,200 yards rushing with 12 TDs. I mean, parade All-American.
Yep.
Like, the things he did.
Mr. Football USA.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, this dude is legit. And then, even though we had a small sample size at Florida, what he did in the comebacks he was able to manufacture.
That comeback at Tennessee was insane. And the thing is, I'm not talking about YouTube videos. I remember watching it. And the thing that I was looking at a quarterback is, can you take someone's heart?
Yeah. Like
what Tom Brady did to Atlanta in the Super Bowl, that's taking someone's heart. Will Grier showed his pedigree. He took their heart against a bitter rival on the road.
No.
He proved he can do it on top of the physical attributes, on top of all the hype and hoopla. Will Grier has already shown he can do it at the highest levels. And now, He's a Morgantown.
But here's the thing. So we know he has the ability.
That's right.
He has the pedigree. Dude's a thoroughbred.
He's a thoroughbred.
But does he truly understand what it means to be the Mountaineer quarterback?
And I say yes. I say yes.
I don't know. That's my thing. I don't know.
I guess. Wait. Let me ask you this. What do you mean? Does he know what it means to be the Mountaineer quarterback?
What I mean is, it means more. Like, Florida is a big time program. He's an SEC. That's great. Wins and losses mean so much more to us as Mountaineers. We live and die. Like, all right. I guess what I'm trying to say is, or if Alabama loses, everybody's bad. It's different for us. When we lose, I feel like there's way more of an emotional thing. I might be mad, but I'm gonna be just as much heartbroken.
I don't think what you're saying. I hear what you're saying, but I feel like it's more. I understand what you're saying, but I feel like it's more of an issue of. I think the issue is bigger on a season scale. So like, I don't feel like we live and die. We don't like losing. We can get over the win and the loss. What kills us is when we see that we're at the mountaintop or we have an opportunity and then it's squandered. I think that's where it kills us, because I think those other schools look at it and they think we'll be back, or we have the opportunity to be back.
And I think
we get Will Grier. We get a defense, which we're going to talk about soon, with what we have in Gibby and Dana.
Yeah.
And then we think, all right, this is our chance. The Big 12 has not been as competitive as it has been. Texas is down. Oklahoma's just lost a lot. We see an opportunity that we can strike, and this is the year. And I think that's why this kind of a thing can be so soul-crushing if it doesn't come to fruition.
And you're right, and everything. I think we're on the
You see what I'm saying? Like, that's what I think, because I feel like that's where I think it's a different...
I agree. I think we're on the same page.
But my argument is, Will Grier paid attention to us at some point in his youth. He was here for an entire season last year where we had some expectations and finally got to a 10-win season with Skyler. He saw how Skyler was treated by the fans.
Which we'll get to.
Which we will get into.
Get on that.
Real quick, I want to know, podcast, do you guys have any opinions about the relationship between Skylar Howard and Mountaineer Nation?
I do.
Yeah.
I certainly do.
He has some opinions.
Let y'all know.
So we were talking about Will Grier.
And I just want to express my feelings about Will Grier. I guess to get to the heart of the matter is, I feel like when you deal with teams like Ohio State or Texas or Alabama, the big programs, the big schools.
Whoa, they're on Texas.
I know.
Okay?
That's all.
Very generous there.
That's all.
Very generous.
But I feel like they have the ability to reload every single year. With us, and I think this is essentially what you were saying, this is much different. I feel like I'm putting my heart on Will Grier's shoulders.
Yeah.
I'm vulnerable. I'm allowing myself to be vulnerable because I believe in him. Here's the truth. If he doesn't come through for the next 3 months, I'm gonna be in a terrible mood. Like, do you want
him to bring you flowers?
No, I want him to throw touchdowns. That's
right.
what I want him to do.
Amen.
And not throw ducks.
No.
And we're running the ball down the other team's throat, and we're playing great defense.
Yeah.
Don't turn the ball over. Don't make stupid passes. And here's, like I said, I don't want to feel like I'm expecting too much out of him. And I really feel like he'll come through. I'm just saying, I think the whole state hasn't believed in a person who hasn't proven anything legitimately like this.
Well, he hasn't played it down for us that mattered. I mean, he's played spring ball. But we heard all about him in scrimmages last year. Then we saw him come.
And he passes the eye test.
And he passes the eye test in the spring game immediately.
I love the Mountaineers. That's what I said. My love of the Mountaineers is by choice. It's not because my brothers love it. It's not because my dad.
It just means a lot.
When we lose, it means more to us Mountaineer fans. So, like, we lose, and the next day, we can't watch ESPN. We lose. I listen to the radio every day at work. I listen to the radio on my way to work, on my way back from work. You don't turn on the radio. You got to be just devoid of all social media.
You ever met an only child? Everybody has. Either you are an only child or you know an only child.
Man, that's on point.
And there are pros and cons. It's good and it's bad. Because if you're an only child, it means you get all of the attention. So when times are good, you get all of the gifts. You don't have to split the allowance, meaning you get a little bit more money than maybe your friends who have siblings to share it with. You get more attention from your aunts and your uncles. You get more attention from your grandparents. The focus is all on you. So in the good times, it's great. But that also means when things are bad, there's nobody to share the blame with. So if something gets broken, if somebody wrecks the car, if you break curfew, there's no one else to blame it on. The full brunt is on you.
Mm-hmm.
And that is West Virginia sports. There is no other Power 5 in the state. Nobody cares about Fairmont State. Nobody cares about Marshall. It's all on us. In California, you've got USC, you've got UCLA, both in the same city. You've got the Dodgers, you've got the LA Kings, you've got the Clippers, you've got the Lakers, you've got Hollywood, all right there. Not to mention the Chargers and the Raiders now. There's so many different things to get your focus. So that's good and bad. When things are going great, maybe you don't get as much attention as you might want to. But when things are bad, it also means that you're not going to get the full focus. In West Virginia, all of the focus and the attention is going to be on the only child. That's why I think the intensity is a little bit different. And I think that's why we as a fan base have an emotional response that is different than the other schools. It's not that we care about winning and losing more. It's just different.
Man, I couldn't agree any more. That's absolutely on point.
So that's why when we say that it means more and that your emotions are on Will Grier's right shoulder, that's why it has so much emotional charge to it. You know, isn't that basically what we're saying? Isn't that why we're saying there's so many emotions invested in Will Grier? There's so many expectations invested in him. Isn't that basically, can we finish this segment basically saying that?
Yeah, put a bow on top of that. That pretty much wraps it up.
And the thing that you just mentioned was you started talking about his performance, about not throwing ducks and not throwing interceptions and making mistakes, which you'll hear people now. You heard it before, and you hear a lot of it even now after the man has graduated, even after the man has had his pro day, even after the man has been signed as a free agent to play for the Seattle Seahawks and have a chance of gaining his roster spot. We're talking about Skyler Don Howard. Now, I want to say this first.
No, get it out the way.
West Virginia fans, WVU, Mountaineer Nation, there are strong opinions about Skyler. And I believe that there are
go, please go.
There are not a lot of
go.
There are not a lot of strong opinions of love and warmth for Skyler. There are a lot of so I feel like there are either people who support him because he's a Mountaineer, or there are people who cannot stand him for some other transgressions. This is how I feel about all Mountaineers. When you wear the old gold and blue, you are a Mountaineer always and forever. That's my opinion. Now he's making a face.
No,
Jeremy's making a face. But I'm just telling you, that's how I feel.
I'm making the "Are you done?" face.
No,
right, go ahead.
I'm not done. That's how I feel. One, and that's the truth. Okay, you run out of that tunnel when you sing "Country Roads" at the end of a game and a victory. You are a Mountaineer.
Okay,
for a fact. One, okay. Two. Can you name me a time that anyone ever questioned how hard Skylar Howard worked? Can you name me?
No.
Can you name me a time?
Never.
Can you name me a time that anyone ever questioned how much heart Skylar Howard had?
I'll concede it. Nope.
Can you name me a time that anyone ever questioned what kind of a teammate or worker he was?
No.
Or is?
Nope.
Did Skylar Howard ever get in trouble when he was in Morgantown?
Not that I know of.
Did Skylar Howard ever have any academic issues when he was in Morgantown?
No.
So Skylar Howard represented the university to the fullest, for the most part. Now, physically, Skylar Howard was what he was. We didn't recruit Skylar Howard, and there was a reason. Skylar Howard went to a JUCO for a reason.
This is true.
Skylar Howard ended up in Morgantown out of necessity. So here's the thing, is what they always say, it is what it is. We knew what we were getting. There is no reason to pretend like we expected him to be John Elway. There was no reason to expect. No. So when he wasn't John Elway, why were people mad?
That's my thing. I'm allowed to be mad. I understand he wasn't the greatest quarterback ever, and he's the one who took the reins because he had to.
Yeah.
But my feelings.
Remember, he came in when Clint Trickett got a concussion.
my feelings for, you know what, I was going a different direction, but everything you're saying here, the thing about Skylar, the thing that makes it different with Skylar, the reason why Mountaineer Nation is mad at Skylar, and I got to draw a direct comparison to Clint Trickett. Yes, Skylar did all those things and he worked hard, and that's why we loved him, his toughness. Clint Trickett, I feel like, mirrors Skylar in so many ways, because his first year he had a bum shoulder, so he was throwing ducks, and I'm not saying he didn't play spectacular. The next year he comes back and he plays well. And you know the difference? We love Clint Trickett. So why is it that we love Clint Trickett and we don't have as much love for Skylar Howard?
I know why.
No, because of his attitude. Because of his attitude. No, like when Clint
I think that's legit.
When Clint Trickett went out on the field, every time he put on the gold and blue, every time he put on the flying WV, you could see from a mile away that it was an honor to wear the Mountaineer colors and to represent West Virginia. When it comes to Skylar Howard, I feel like he feels like we are part of his legacy. The whole Mountaineer experience was part of his story. Not that he helped our prestige, not that he helped our program, not that he added to us at West Virginia. I felt like he felt like he was doing us a favor, that we were part of his story. Just arrogant. That's the difference.
But I will say this.
That's the difference.
I will say this. It's really easy to get on a microphone and start talking about doing like armchair assessment, like in psychological assessments of what Skylar Howard, but I don't know how he actually felt. What I will say is this.
I heard what he said. We're just gonna let him boo us again. Yes. And I heard people say, well, you know, they put in 2-a-days and they work so hard, and that's the truth. Them kids work hard, and I laud them for it. But the truth is, they try to act like, oh, well, what do you fans give? You know what I give? Do you know how many times, maybe not last year, but do you know how many times I've drove up to Morgantown on a Thursday night and watched a Thursday night, and this is a 2-hour trip from Charleston to Morgantown. The game ends at 11 o'clock. I drive 2.5 hours back to Charleston. It's almost 2 in the morning, and I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning to go to work. My money, my time, my energy, and not to say, if you lose, my whole next week is going to be screwed up. Like, that's what I'm saying. Emotionally, I'm involved. So to act like us as fans don't give you something, that we don't go out there and cheer you. Maybe sometimes we boo because we're emotional, because we aren't Pitt fans. Therefore, we are emotional.
And we
good
care.
And bad, and we care. But to act like, oh, you're just going to boo me again? Nah, forget you. Clint Trickett, not you.
I just want you to tell him why you mad, son.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
I just want you to tell him why you mad.
I feel like I'm allowed to be mad at Skylar. No. Look, I'm allowed to be mad at Skylar, and for all those other reasons, but also because we haven't played a game yet. This isn't like, I feel like he. I'm not blaming it all on him, and I know he did the best he could. But we had an opportunity in front of us, and because he wants to throw ducks and bad passes.
He wants to throw ducks.
And then have a bad attitude about it. Then have a bad attitude about it. You know, and that's the thing. And we haven't even played another game. I'm allowed to grieve. I'm allowed to be frustrated with it.
Yeah, be salty, be mad. Look, I agree with you 100%. I had a huge problem with Sky. I don't think you should boo. No, you know what? No, that's not true. You're allowed to boo your players. The best fans in the world boo their players. That happens. Yeah. Every fan base that matters boos their players.
Every single one of them. You don't want somebody to boo you, then go to Marshall.
Nobody boos unless they care. And what you just said is a fact. Nobody boos unless they care. The only places that people get booed are places where people are invested emotionally, financially, in any other way you can imagine. That's the way it is in Morgantown. I'm not saying that is the most mature thing. I'm not saying it's the most productive thing. I'm just saying that is reality.
Reality.
So of all the things that I just lauded, all the things that I just glorified Skylar Howard for, all the things that Skylar did that embodied the Mountaineer spirit, all the things that we love him for.
Absolutely.
I cannot condone calling out your fan base in public. Because you know the thing that we were taught as children, we can fight, we can argue, we can have any problems we want.
But what happens in the house?
It stays in this house. We don't have any problems that end up out in the street. Now, some of y'all who might have seen us at the city park circa our teenage years, or maybe some rec centers playing some basketball, y'all might have heard some discrepancies. However, the principle stays the same. We are not out in the street putting our business dirty laundry. We might have been arguing about basketball, but you didn't hear me calling names. You didn't hear me telling about all the mistakes Jeremy made, at home. I didn't talk about my mother, my father. We don't do that kind of thing. And I feel like Skylar Howard calling out the fans even though everybody could hear the booing, you don't talk about the nuance of it. You don't talk about the details of it.
And second of all, the reason why we loved you, Skylar, is because you're a warrior. You're one of them people who's just gonna go get it done and gonna fight and not be scared. And that's
right.
what we loved.
Pick up your
and
lunch
then
pail.
all of a sudden, out of nowhere,
He's a diva.
that's a good word. Thank
And I'm not saying he was, but
you turn into a diva and you contradict everything you've done on the field. Matter of fact, this is not the end of the year. We didn't start. We're in the middle of the season.
And I'm not saying he is a diva. I'm just saying that's the way it came across. Now, I'm saying all of this, and I will then further that to Mountaineer Nation. Because to me, the same principle applies. Just like Skylar should not have called out the fans for the booing, certainly should never have brought that up for public consumption. Mountaineer fans, in my opinion, it's over. There is no benefit. There is no benefit to trolling Skylar Howard.
You shouldn't troll. I
There
don't
is
agree
no
with that.
benefit to disrespecting or calling him out. He got us 10 wins last year. He came in and got us a win at was it Kansas State or Iowa State when Clint went down the first time?
I can't remember.
Skylar was a tough kid who worked hard,
and we appreciate
and
that.
we should be grateful for what he did. He's gone. He's moved on.
And don't ever, like you said, don't ever troll. Don't ever
Let's
troll your Mountaineer.
Let's root for his success, because whatever he does from here on out, if he becomes a quarterback in the NFL, you know what he's going to say on Monday night? Skylar Howard, West Virginia University.
He better not say no high school neither.
Skylar Howard, West Virginia University. We are all rooting for his success, whether you want to believe that or not. You can feel conflicted. Talk about it in your car. Talk about it on your text thread. Say whatever you want to say. You think I didn't say stuff to my friends about Skylar Howard in my text thread? You think I didn't call? You don't think I had nicknames for the man? I'm not gonna front. I'm giving him all this credit. But you think I didn't write stuff when he threw interceptions or fumbled the ball against Miami in the bowl game? I had plenty of complaints. But I'm not above giving the man the credit and respect he deserves. And I'm not above saying the truth, which is once a Mountaineer, always a Mountaineer. And we don't put our business in the street. Not on Instagram, not on Twitter, not on YouTube, and not on this podcast.
And definitely no Mountaineer on Mountaineer violence.
No Mountaineer on Mountaineer.
Stop.
It's got to stop. No Mountaineer on Mountaineer
Mountaineer
violence.
lives matter.
See, that's what we not finna do right there. That's what we not finna do right there. But for real, no Mountaineer on Mountaineer violence. Okay, just remember that principle. I hashtag it. Y'all can do whatever you want with it. No Mountaineer on Mountaineer violence. We can't afford it. It's us against the world. And we're not going to let people divide us, not out in public. And we're not going to let people malign us. And we certainly will not be part of the problem. We have to guard it. And that's why I just don't believe in it. And that's why I stand up for Skylar the way I do out in public.
No, and that's the thing. Like, I have strong feelings about Skylar, but at the end of the day, to use that, cliche term, at the end of the day, he's a Mountaineer. So he's always going to be a Mountaineer.
That's how I feel. All right. We're going to take a break, and then we'll be back. We're going to hop into, we're going to take just a moment, because, so that was an emotional, just a little bit of emotion.
Calm down a little bit.
Yeah. So I figure most of you guys have heard of these fidget spinners.
What?
Not riding spinners. We talking fidget spinners.
I had to educate myself just a few moments ago.
Well, see, I already knew about them. Like, I saw, teachers were complaining about them in school. And then I talked to some kids that were, because I'm 34, and you're 31.
31.
And so when people are like, oh, it's for people that have something to do with their hands, they're in class, and I'm thinking, I just play with a pencil. I threw stuff at other kids.
No.
I disrupted the classroom.
No, that's kind of my main thing. I look at it, and on my desk every day at work, I play with stuff and fidget around without paying a dime.
Yeah, I fidget for free.
What is this? What is this, Pet Rocks again?
Yeah, that's exactly what this is. That's how I felt too.
People stay getting got.
Stay getting got. But listen, like my mom always says, don't hate, congratulate. So whoever invented it, I want to give her props. In fact, actually, let me give you 1 second, because what happened is, so we were watching videos, trying to figure out exactly what this is, because you have opinions about it, and I was all strong, ready with mine to come out with the old man screams at cloud,
Yeah.
Very Luddite, ready to do it, come out here and yell at young people. Even though I still am fly with mine, I'm a little bit older, so I just thought maybe I could come out and say something. But then I was reading this New York Times article about it, and it's actually kind of sad. There is a woman who has myasthenia gravis.
Okay.
She couldn't play with her daughter. And then worst of all, add to that, she's not even getting rich off all of this. she actually lost her patent because she couldn't afford to keep it up. So this is actually a terrible story, and we're laughing about it. But we just got to keep keeping on. So yeah. So that's how fidget spinners were invented.
Let's see, that adds some depth to it. That's
Not-
different.
yeah.
It makes it a lot different.
So we would like to offer a mea culpa to fidget spinners. Spin away, all you fidgeters.
Kind of dope.
Nah, I wouldn't say dope. No, not dope. Not dope. Just not as bad as I thought.
I did watch a video and it was kind of, it looked kind of cool. A little bit. Just a little bit.
All right.
Be honest with you.
All right, what do you guys think?
No, because here's the truth. I was ready to hate and I was ready to be like, but it is, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't pay nothing for it, but if somebody gave me one for free.
So the question is, let us know on Twitter, on Instagram. What do you think? How do you feel about fidget spinners? If you're a teacher, how many have you confiscated? If you're a parent, do you let your kids go to school with them? Do they go to church with them? Let us know. Fidget spinners, are you for? Are you against? Not really Mountaineer Nation, but it is part of the conversation. One last thing before we end today's conversation, we want your opinion. We want your thoughts. We talked about how we felt about Skylar, how we feel about Skylar, but we want to know how you feel. So do not forget to go to @Raspy Voice Kids on our Twitter page. Tell us how you feel, what you think. Vote on our poll. Was it okay to boo Skylar Howard? Give us your opinion. It's your chance. Give us your vote. Okay, well, that wraps it up. We're done. Thank you for coming up from Charleston all the way to Athens, Ohio. I was looking forward to this. I'm very excited that you made it.
Me too. It was good.
Yeah, and I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as we did. But when family and friends get together, there are disagreements, even about Mountaineer sports. It's not the most important thing in life, but what I say is it is the most important of the unimportant things. That's how I feel. Maybe you don't agree. Tweet at me. Tweet at us, @Raspy Voice Kids, @IAlsoHatePit, @JNFiend. Follow us on Instagram, same names. If there were subjects we talked about that you didn't like, you can voice your opinion. Oh, and we did not forget, we are going to get to the Marshall subject. Do you hate Marshall? Why do you hate Marshall? We're going to get to retired jerseys. This has already been recorded, so we're not just teasing. This is not a bait and switch, but you got to tune in. Remember, subscribe and review. iTunes, Google Play, Soundcloud, YouTube. Get at us. We're here. We hope you are too. No matter what happens, no matter what we say, don't forget, we also hate Pitt.